bit. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Patrick Duff coming to you from the new home of the New Jersey Temple of Hemp and Cannabis. This one is known as the Trenton Temple of Hemp and Cannabis, actually known as Trenton THC. And we're here at Hub 13 with one of the founders of Hub 13, Phil Charles. Say hello.
Hey, what's happening, world?
And Hub 13 is a shared space here in Trenton that's at 13 West Front Street, and it's a place where people basically have been coming together for surrounding the cannabis plant for the last 2 years, 3 years.
Yep. 2022, 2024. Yep.
Okay, and it's a place that's cannabis friendly. So I as an investigative journalist, have decided that I'm going to take my skills to Trenton, to the capital of the state of New Jersey, to try to see if I can get home grow for the patients of New Jersey. That's going to be one of my first missions, but also to try and look into a lot of the other bills that are happening up here in the state, look into corruption, try to find corruption like I love doing, and exposing corruption, but on a state level, and I'm still going to do it on a local level, but probably mostly here in Trenton, to try to see what's going on here in the city of Trenton, to try to see if the fiscal responsibility is there or not, So this is the first episode of the podcast that we'll be doing probably about 3 to 5 times a week. I don't know if Phil's not going to be the guest every time, but this is going to be a space for what they call canatheism. So it's the belief of canatheism. If you believe that cannabis is a sacrament that comes from the Creator and is a positive thing, then you can be a part of the Canatheist Church. And canatheism is non-denominational. You don't have to be a certain denomination. You don't have to believe any certain thing except for that cannabis has been put here for the use of humans, and that is a good thing. New Jersey has some really, what I refer to as liberal religious freedom laws, even more liberal than the First Amendment, which is pretty liberal, which means that they couldn't really make any laws abridging the free exercise of religion. So the thought of the church here in Trenton is also going to be to protect people with being a member of the church, because once you're a member of the church, if you do happen to have a situation where you're growing your own plants, you'll have a defense in court. Whereas right now, people are going to jail for many years for growing cannabis, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know what the charges are? What the time is that people get for the plants? How many plants?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Honestly, I'm not sure if they weigh by the plant.
No, it's per plant in New Jersey. So I think it's if you have 5 cannabis plants, I think it's a 10-year mandatory minimum. It's either 5 or 10, but that's literally 5 or 10 plants. It's interesting because if you had 5 or 10 clones, you literally would have these little tiny pieces of plant material that wouldn't weigh more than, I would say, 25 to 50 grams. Whereas if you had just one plant that was massive outside, you can literally have plants that have 15 pounds on them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that was just, they make the plant rule, but that's what it is in New Jersey, is that they put you away still for growing your own pot, but they don't put the people away that are in the dispensary business right now, who are being allowed to grow marijuana legally and sell it legally. And one of the issues that we're going to be discussing on all these shows are the dispensaries, and is the legal system of cannabis in New Jersey, because right now, the cannabis is the cheapest eighth that the distributors can buy, dispensaries can buy from the distributors, is $23 an eighth. And that is about $2,940 a pound. And that's coming from a wholesaler into the retailer. And that means that the price, if you do a presidential markup, they would have to sell that eighth for $46, taxes and everything, comes out to $50+ for an eighth, right?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
So, and, the affordability of cannabis is going to have to, there's going to have to be something done about it in the legal market. If the legal market is going to exist, I'm going I'm going to tell you this. My prediction for you in the legal market is if you are one of the distributors, that this $3,000 a pound that you're putting out there, and that's the cheap stuff. I mean, by the way, I mean that's double of what the gray market is, I should say, right now. And they're legally allowed to do it. They're not even taking any risks in doing it. They're creating the same substance, they're packaging it, putting it out, what it may be. But my prediction is that the product will stop moving in the legal market. All of a sudden, it'll dry up. People say, well, they're not buying anymore. These contracts that you have with these dispensaries to buy 3 pounds a month, whatever it may be, they're not going to be able to fulfill the contracts because all the stuff's just sitting on the shelf, because people go to the gray market because the pricing is sometimes 1/3 of your pricing. And I can prove that. The issue is that pricing itself is going to crush you because the legal market itself won't have enough consumers to keep it in business.
Yeah, we're seeing that now, especially with like the smaller shops compared to the larger operations, where smaller shops are surviving on a month-to-month basis, and these larger shops are just like, we're here until the wheels fall off, and we have the bank to do so. And
they even have the bank to sell stuff at very little to no profit.
Yeah, they could do that overnight.
Yeah, so, and then at that point, who's going to go to the other store for a little while, and then all of a sudden they're not there? Well, but, New Jersey has a special situation here where it's the only state in the country, Phil, that does not allow for the citizens to grow marijuana, and they've legalized marijuana. It's the only one in the country.
Yeah, the garden state.
Yeah, the garden state itself. So, yeah, and that's got to change. So part of the reason why I'm coming to Trenton to do what I do, which is investigative journalism, activism, rabble-rousing, is to try to help affect that change. So if you want to join the Church of Cannabis, there will be a website set up that I'll have probably at the bottom of this video or somewhere that you'll be able to see. And you go to that website, and you'll be able to sign up there. We're going to probably have a grand opening event sometime in the beginning of, what's the next one? September. In September, we'll have the grand opening. But this is the podcast studio that has already been set up here. So it's almost like, when I walked into this place, I remember about maybe a year ago or something, there was a protest. I said to myself, well, I really like that spot. I would really like to be involved in that spot in some way. So things have worked out that way. So
the universe finally worked its magic.
Yeah. So why don't you tell me about this place, about what this place does, who's involved in the creation of it, and what the goal of this space has been.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I was joined by my 2 other partners, Jacques and Damon. Shout out to those guys. And the whole concept of creating Hub 13 was to be able to create a resource center for creatives, entrepreneurs, anyone that was into positive activities, and anyone that knows Trenton knows that there's a lack of, real estate and opportunities as far as exploring, some passions and finding like-minded individuals. So we created Hub 13 to kind of be that magnet to pull in like-minded individuals who are into the arts, who's into music, who's into owning their own business, independency, and, kind of creating a culture within the city of, we're not alone here, and we're stronger together. And I think that's kind of where, we've kind of aligned as far as the cannabis activism part. And, not just now, but we've known each other for some years.
Yeah.
And, anyone that knows me know everything that I do has some touch of cannabis to it. So Hub 13 has been an amazing ride thus far, and it's been, awesome to see the different walks of life come through here, and want to just explore, different avenues as far as, what they're interested in. And we kind of built it out to be opening and welcome to all different types of creativity. So if you're in the Trenton, Mercer County area, and, whether it's podcasting, content creation. You're looking for office space, need somewhere to meet up with, come check out Hub 13.
Or you want to have an event.
Events.
So how many people can fit, you say, for an event?
Man, there's been quite a few hundred that's, been packed in the Hub 13.
So that's
3 floors, 7,500 square feet.
So when you come out to the party, bring your friends, okay? Because the opening party it's gonna be fun, but it's also gonna be very educational. Most of what I want to do is teach people to fish, in the sense of what I do, what he does. I'm going to bring other activists in here, people that understand how to create petitions, how to get petitions signed, how to make real change in your communities, and you're going to learn that for free. It's going to be part of joining the church. So if you have questions about how can you find certain information, I can show you how to do OPA requests and different things like that. So we'll have these classes on all these things, and we're also going to have classes on cannabis, on how to grow your own cannabis, on what to look for in your cannabis, on what the different strains are, on what to look for in your distillates and the other products that are out there. Be doing reviews of the products, online reviews of the products. So if somebody wants to come in with their product from a dispensary, we can sit down and do live reviews of those products here, so we can actually start looking into the dispensary cannabis and seeing if any of it's good. I mean, because so far I haven't seen anything that I would declare good. And let me just preface that. I want to go, well, who are you and what do you know? Well, I began growing marijuana in the late 90s, and in 2005 I moved out to California, where I lived with Jack Herer. It's not just a strain, it's a person. I actually lived with him. He wrote a book called Emperor Wears No Clothes, and I had Jack on my radio show in 2003 or 2004. And when I moved out to California in 2005, I went out there to trim weed on the top of a mountain. I thought I'm going out into some sort of peaceful wonderland of hippies, and Mendocino County turned out to be quite the opposite of that. And what happened is my dog got into a fight on the top of a hill with another guy's dog who owned the property, and he told me I couldn't stay there, and I had just driven out from Philadelphia to live in California, and I had no place to live. So when I called Jack and let him know this, Jack literally said, just come to my house and you can stay with me. So I lived with Jack for a while, and we went on a tour around the country, or around the West Coast, where we went to different cities, went to different dispensaries, went to Las Vegas, Seattle Hemp Fest, all over the place. And then when I came back, I wound up opening a dispensary with a guy named Les Crane, who was a pioneer in the industry in Mendocino County, who had opened a dispensary kind of against all odds, let's say. And when he opened that dispensary, there was something called the Raich decision, the Angel Raich decision, and it was a federal decision that made it so you could not use the words medical and marijuana in the same sentence in federal court as your defense. So you couldn't say it was for medicine, you couldn't say any of that, and the Raich decision was that decision that made it so medical marijuana was no longer a defense to any criminal prosecutions. So a lot of people, they just shut down. It was almost overnight. But Les, what he did was he opened as a church. He reopened as a church and called it Mendo Healing Remedies. And when I helped him open in Ukiah, California, the city said that they couldn't open, we weren't allowed to open any more dispensaries in the city. And so, but I like to read, so I read the moratorium, and the moratorium stated there was addresses on the thing that were allowed to be in operation. It didn't say the name of the company that was in operation. It didn't say the owner. It just said the addresses were the allowed use. So one of those addresses was for lease. So I said, all we got to do is go lease that address, and we are in like Flynn will be legal because they can't touch us, because in their own ordinance it says that address is accessible for that use. So we went to the landlord. Landlord said, that's not true. I said, call your lawyer. Call your lawyer right now and ask him if that's true, if I'm right. Called the lawyer. The lawyer said, yes, he's right. And so we opened Hemp Plus Ministry in Ukiah, California. From there, I went to open 7 dispensaries in Los Angeles from 2005 to 2010, 11. And I was the most rated man in Los Angeles history, from 3 times by the DEA, 2 times by the LAPD, and never was once charged with any crime by either DEA or LAPD because of the religious protections that I was afforded. So I have a little bit of knowledge on what good cannabis should be, and I'm going to be able to bring that knowledge to people and bring the knowledge of how to, like I said, affect that change, even in your local areas, like your own local towns. So, and I know you're excited with that part because I know Trenton has some issues.
Yeah. Well, not only just Trenton in general, but the state. You know, they've created this cannabis industry where it's top heavy. You know, we have these larger corporations mass producing bunch of weed, mid quality. You know, there's a few smaller operations popping up now that's kind of competing and cracking into the market, but not, you know, putting a dent in it enough. But I've always looked at cannabis as just a plant, you know, a very special plant as it is. But the laws and the bureaucracy and the red tape that goes around the legalization kind of slows the growth of that plant. You know what I mean? From getting it.
Surely adds cost to it.
A high cost, no pun intended. A high cost for sure. And it don't really have to be like that. And I think that's like what got me involved.
You know, in Oklahoma, they have the model is a free market system. You basically get a license, you find your product, you can grow your product, whatever it may be. So it's not they don't have strict regulations. They don't have a lot of hoops to jump through. And there's dispensaries everywhere. Yeah. So there's jobs being given to each one of these dispensaries, and the average cost. Do you have a phone? Get your phone there.
Yeah, I got you somewhere.
Let's see. Why don't you just type in there? Go to a menu for Oklahoma City, find a dispensary, and you will see it's $100 for an ounce, $125 an ounce. You can get ounces for cheaper than that, because that's what the free market actually will pay for the product. So it's interesting because if you look at the gray market here in New Jersey, you're having, you know, ounces are $150, $200, you know, on the gray market.
Depends who you know.
Understood. But what are they for you?
If you do the math, I'm using less than 100.
There you go.
Like if you're looking at $1,500 pounds, $1,200 pounds.
Understood, but I'm talking about somebody buying an individual ounce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, somebody buying an individual ounce.
And then it all depends on quality too, of course.
Understood, yeah. But what I'm saying is, though, if you look at the market in Oklahoma, the free market in Oklahoma is right around the prices of the gray market in New Jersey. And the reason why is because the gray market in New Jersey is basically, that dictates what the consumer will pay. And a lot of the distributors, which in California, this is what happened in California when they went legal. By the way, the legacy growers that were in Mendocino County and Humboldt County for you know, generations have all been chased out by legalization. You got something?
$7 for 1 gram.
$7. What about me?
How would you know I come across 8?
So,
what, you figure $7 for a gram, 3.5, $25 if that.
Yeah, and that's
no tax on there. You're around like $30.
Mm-hmm. But not just that. That's that's just a gram. When you go up higher in the amounts, you get a half ounce. You're getting it for like $50 or $40. And go ahead.
Here's the kicker: 1 gram of live resin, $10.60. Guess how much 1 gram of live resin is going for in New Jersey?
$100.
Some's around there. I've heard as high as $200 for 1 gram of live resin.
Oh,
$200 compared to
$10. Because that's what the free market. That's what happens when you have a free market. Because they have bulk mass. By the way, that's one of the issues we're talking about here in New Jersey. Because the New Jersey system is new, so they don't have a lot of mass. They don't have a lot of biomass to produce what they call distillate. And distillate is how you make these other things, or the biomass to make the live resin, or the amount to make the rosins that people are making right now are so expensive in the dispensary.
Yeah.
But even let's see what are the live rosin there. See if they have a pricing there for live rosin. Or name some other prices you see there.
So yeah, this is actually interesting. So 5 grams of diamonds and sauce combined. 5 grams is $123.
That's so good.
For 5 grams.
That's so good. I'm gonna go to Oklahoma. I didn't want to go to Oklahoma before we started looking at that. But that's what
it seems like everything is around $20
for the eights.
For 8.
Yeah,
of batter.
A batter?
Yeah.
What would that be here?
We haven't even had batter on the market. You can find it in the underground shops, but
even there, it's like $60, $70 an eighth, right?
It's going to be up there. Yeah, easily.
So, but the only reason I wanted to show that, I didn't know what we'd look at there. I didn't know what you'd pull up, but I know what the free market does to pricing. And that allows for the market to decide what the price will be. So what I was going to go into is in California, the issue was that these distributors that have a stranglehold on the dispensaries because they don't have product, they don't create it, the distributor gives it the product, right? So as they siphon the product into these dispensaries, the dispensaries hit a lull in their sales, but the distributor still has 5,000 pounds that they have to get rid of. But the distributor on the free market, which is the gray market out there, cannot do what they do to the legal dispensaries, which is charge them $3,000 a pound for the stuff that they are selling through their back door for $900, $1,000 a pound.
Yeah.
And what happens is the effect of them selling this out the back door, the effect of them basically creating a very low-priced gray market and inundating that market with their flowers makes it so the people at the front of the thing, which is the dispensaries, can't sell the product. So that's why the whole system in California is going belly up, because there's no real regulations. And I looked at that. You had mentioned that there's these regulators in New Jersey that watch things. Do you know how much the regulator in New Jersey gets paid for cannabis industry?
60 grand.
60 to 90 grand.
Yeah.
Do you know how easy it is to influence somebody to make 60 to 90 grand when they're around millions of dollars?
Yeah.
So what the issue here is New Jersey, which is the soprano state, that politics has been infiltrated by the mafia. Literally, there's a book called The Soprano State that shows how these people that were in organized crime moved themselves into politics in New Jersey. A lot of them right here. Yeah. I mean, when you go there, they're gangsters, some of them people, you can kind of get that vibe. That suit that they're wearing is very expensive. And so when you leave it up to mayors, I'll give you an example. Woodbury, New Jersey. I tried to help 2 people open up a dispensary. And this is why I'm doing this, by the way. There's a couple reasons I'm doing this. Number one, I want to make change in the world. I'm selling cards right now because that's a job that can pay me some money. But I don't want to pick another fucking color out with a little old lady. All right? I want to be able to effect change and make things happen. But a part of the reason why I'm doing this is because what happened in Woodbury when I tried to help 2 people open a dispensary, which was one was a friend of mine who's black, and his friend who was the investor or the owner of the building and the person with the money was a Muslim guy. And I told them, when I first got involved, I'm like, well, look, send me the ordinance that they passed. They send me the ordinance. I look at the property. I go to the property. I said, we're in the clear. We can open. Per their ordinance, where your property is located, it's like a pin on a map. We're lucky we're that pin on the map. I told them, I said, do me a favor. Go down to the council, go down to the clerk, and ask them how it is that we can get a resolution sponsored, because they'd already sponsored another person for a resolution. They had already given one resolution out. So, and what I'm saying is, New Jersey requires a cannabis dispensary, a legal one, for the town's council and mayor to sign a resolution stating that you're allowed to open there.
And it's funny because in certain towns, it's a lot easier than others. Like some towns will charge you 10 grand to just fill out an application. Just to fill out the application. You're not even gonna get approved or anything like that. But
so it starts off as a bad joke, I guess you could say. A black guy and a Muslim guy walk into Woodbury Council to try to get an application to open a dispensary. And the clerk who says that there is a process to do such is then interrupted by the person who is the council president at the time saying that there is no process to do such.
Don't you love the confusion?
When they said, well, we have the resolution in our hand right here that was already passed for somebody else, so we don't understand how there isn't a process. There was no application fee at that time. The next week or two, by the way, the lawyer that we had representing us at that point, Chuck Fiore was also representing Woodbury as their township prosecutor, who was working in another town because they had a shared service agreement. So Chuck Fiore should have never said yes to our case. Chuck Fiore never tells us the city then puts in a $10,000 application fee, non-refundable application fee, and
non-refundable,
and limits their zoning. Says now they come back and redo their whole ordinance to say only 3 can be operational. By the time that we knew that you had to pay this $10,000 non-refundable fee, they already had 3 applications in.
Yeah. Are they open now? You know,
2 of them are open.
Okay.
2 of them are open. Yes, but so think about it. So we have to go to a council or a mayor to be able to open a business, and the council and the mayor, if they're racist or if they're biased in any way, which everybody's biased towards their cousin, brother, sister, whatever it may be. How is that fair? How is that social equity?
Oh man, don't get me started on social equity.
That's social equity is. I consider it the same thing as it's a political football that they say every time they're trying to do something with cannabis. They say, "Well, cannabis is going to save the world. It's going to help. It's going to not only help the minorities in the area. It's also going to help. It's going to take care of all of our tax burdens. It's going to heal the sick. Cannabis has so much riding on its shoulders that it's disgusting, because just 10, 12, 15 years ago, cannabis was what people were getting locked up for. When I was 18 years old, I got arrested for cannabis. I couldn't get a job.
Yeah. That's what got me involved into cannabis activism.
See?
I mean, fucking pissed off.
And I think that's probably partly why some of the kids nowadays, they're like, who cares? It's, nobody's getting in trouble.
Yeah. These kids are lucky.
Yeah, but people are still getting in trouble, and that's going to be part of what we're doing. So, again, my name's Patrick Duff. I go by Reverend Patrick, but you don't got to call me Reverend. And like I said, I've done this before. This has been a long time coming. What's going to happen is you are going to be able to donate for very fine cannabis. I'll show you some right here. This is called Cinderella 99, and it will blow your mind, I'm telling you. Take a look at that. So, and people who come to the temple, it's going to be by appointment only when we're doing the services for donations for the cannabis. So you'll make an appointment. It'll be a 15-minute window. Come in, sit and hang, and if you're early, you can sit and hang because we've got plenty of space here. And if you want to sit and hang and enjoy your medication or enjoy your sacrament, you can sit and chill with us and enjoy it. So we'll have pieces for people to use. We'll have papers and stuff, we want to give people the space that they deserve. Cannabis consumers should not have to just be alone all the time. When they use cannabis, they shouldn't. In Trenton, they were trying to limit the fact that you can even smoke inside of a building, right?
Smoking a building, anywhere public, even if you were outside, you could have purchased a vape from a dispensary, and a legal dispensary. And the second you would have took a hit of that vape, you would have been breaking Trenton's ordinance. It didn't pass, thankfully, but these are some of the bureaucrat, issues that we got to deal with.
And the issue is this. New Jersey voted to legalize cannabis. And even Herb Wesson, who's an assembly person, during one of the hearings, when I said to him, well, people are still going to go to jail if they grow it, he said, well, I thought that growing it would be allowed under this bill. This is the guy helping to pass the bill. He was sitting on the committee for the bill. And he didn't know that growing it would still land you in jail. Yeah. So part of this is going to be pushing them to understand that. And the donations that are going to come in through the cannabis are going to help fund the activism. So, you're not just coming in and getting the best pot that Trenton and New Jersey has. I can assure you that. But you are going to be supporting the activism that's going to be coming out of this place and out of me. And if you haven't seen it, Rabble Rouse Rising. This is my new book, my only book so far, but I'll have another one coming out very soon. This is about after I had cancer. Well, actually, like the lead up to when I found out I had cancer with all the crazy COVID stuff, me being banned from Twitter by the FBI, well before anybody talked about the FBI Twitter files. I was a Twitter file. I was an FBI Twitter file. So that's all in this book here. But this book is going to be they're going to be coming out left and right in this type of a space because I'll have the time to do it instead of picking the colors out with little old ladies. I mean, which I don't mind, because it's actually not a bad thing. I'm not digging a ditch. I'm not out, hurting myself at all. But I want to help people, and this is how I know how to help. I don't have a college education. I mean, people were making fun of me just a little bit ago in the Delran controversy down there in Delran because they can't defend themselves of what they actually did. They have to attack the messenger. But I'm okay with that. And so a lot of the stuff that's going to happen is going to be funded by the donations for that. So if you want to be a member of the temple, then send an email and go to the website below, and we'll be sending out invitations to the grand opening, which will be in September sometime. So I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Honor's all mine, brother. Honor's all mine. Without going too much into detail, what are some of the things individuals who sign up to become a member of the church can experience? Our services.
Yeah, I mean, the services are going to actually obviously have cannabis involved. If you want to use cannabis, you can. But the services are more of an educational time for the history and the usefulness of the plant. So you can talk intelligently to people when they ask you, "Whoa, you're cannabis? What the hell is that?" Well, it is the study and the knowledge that the plant has been used for thousands of years. It's been medicine. It's been glue. It's been adhesives. It's caulk. You can make it into almost anything. So when people learn that the most valuable and most useful plant in the world is cannabis, then this religion makes sense to people. But when they think, oh, you're just doing it to smoke pot, well, I'm going to smoke pot anyway. But the truth is that when you look at the history of cannabis and you look at what it does and what it can do, it's the only plant that can replace fossil fuels. It's the only plant that can stop deforestation of the forests for paper products. It's the only one that's a biannual renewable resource that can replace oil. It can fuel a car. You can make an entire car out of the plastics of hemp, which is biodegradable plastic. Think about that.
Yeah, man, I know this may go down to like a whole nother rabbit hole, but it's been mentioned, that the cannabis plant itself, not just the smokable flower, but its entirety from a seed, is actually brought from, a planet not from ours, from other visitors on the planet because of all the things that it's able to do, like clothing, oil.
I think 60-something% of our DNA actually is shared with the cannabis plant. So in a sense, like sport, what can travel through space? There's not a lot of things that can live in space, but spores can.
Interesting.
spores. So asteroids, comets, whatever it may be, as peace broke off, coming to Earth, you get psilocybin, Amity muscaria, mushrooms, things like that. So in a sense, maybe there's been that planet had some way of sending millions of cannabis seeds like in through the sky, you know, but because in certain religions in Africa they call cannabis daga.
Yep.
And daga is the dog star, and they think that the cannabis came from the dog star to help humans live on this earth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the amount of religions that use cannabis is very high. You have a sect of Muslims that use it. You have the Hindus, that very large sect that they have a holiday called Holi, where they drink what's called it's a cannabis yogurt. It's like Kanalasi or something like that. Banglasi, called Banglasi. And the Banglasi is drank by everybody, old, young, everybody. They dance around and they eat, they have a great time, and it's celebrating the cannabis plant. So in the certain sects of Buddhism, with Shinto Buddhism, they also use cannabis. They smoke it at the wedding. And
I've always considered, even in the Bible, when they're mentioning the anointing oil.
I mean, I make the anointing. I mean, the United Cannabis Ministries was formed in 2005. It was October 28th and 29th of 2005 in Laytonville, California. Les Crane, my good friend, who, by the way, who I didn't say, he was murdered. He was murdered in 2005. And over the last 2 years, I've investigated the murder of my friend and made a documentary about it. So that'll be coming out. I'm going to the Emerald Cup next weekend to do a screening of the trailer out there and pump it up. But you can go to whokilledlescrane.com and find out more. But Les Crane paid for almost 24 people to come together in California, paid for their flights to come out. Roger Christie from the THC Ministry. Eddie Lepp was there. Eddie Lepp, by the way, was the first person in California to be acquitted for growing plants under Prop 215. Eddie Lepp basically was the one that spearheaded the right to grow plants in California. Jack Harrow was there. Jack Harrow is a legend like you couldn't believe. We call that like New Jersey Weed Man was there. Ed Fortune was there. Tom Brown was there. Jeff Brown of the Ethiopian Zion Coptic Church was there from Florida. Jeff Brown is the one that brought in the 70s. He had this church in Florida where he was bringing in massive loads
like
of
cargo
cannabis.
ships.
Yes, and so he was there. He was so great to meet him. And but we brought all these people together so we could form a United Cannabis Ministry, so we could be taken seriously. Tim Blake was there. Tim Blake is the founder of the Emerald Cup. The United Cannabis Ministries happened in Area 101, which is the building that was where the Emerald Cup was born. So a lot of what this is a culmination of that day. And that day, the second day, we created a big, giant vat of anointing oil. Where Les put 6 pounds of pot into the oil. We used 6 pounds of pot, cinnamon, myrrh, all kinds of different wonderful things that are involved in that oil. And then we took that oil and we gave it to all the different congregants to go out to wherever they're at to share that oil. It helps with acne, it helps with pain, it helps with psoriasis. And I made the oil even better. And I'll be carrying that here too. It's called Magi Skincare Lotion. And I made it into what's called a nano version. So I was able to encapsulate the oil particulate into water by using a high shear mixer. And so the bioavailability of my product is about 90 to 95%, compared to oil was about 10 to 15%. So that same oil that when you put it on your skin, it would take 2-3 days for something to really change. That's overnight. Like acne, it's crazy. It really is.
And that's the frustrating part to me, where it's like we're still so not like us, but like the masses are still so hung up on just the flower part of it. Where it's like they said acne, fucking psoriasis, like all these things this one plant can handle building structures,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not flame retardant walls and all types of stuff. And
barriers for the ocean. I mean, every barrier that has like a burn at the Jersey Shore could be protected if they just planted hemp plants there.
One thing though, with legalization that I'm definitely happy for is, I don't know about you, but I'm no longer just like that crazy guy, you know, that's all about weed and like, you love weed too much and you need to go to Colorado. It's like, no, like this can change the way we go about everyday life and sustainability.
Well, I've always been that crazy guy though.
With legalization, a lot more people are starting to slowly kind of see what we were so passionate about.
The stigma is not there as much. I can say that.
Yeah,
I can say that.
Yeah, especially when you get into the newer generations.
Yes, who don't even see it as anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the interesting thing. It's like, you know, why did you get arrested for that? It's like, I didn't want to.
So you can run. What was that?
So,
you walk so you can run kind of deal.
There you go. Well, they say that strong men make good time. So that's what I hope to help with here. You know, I had cancer 3 years ago, big 10-inch tumor taken out of me. So my bucket list was to write a book. I've done that. To try to find out who killed my friend. By the way, I did that. And to live 3 years. And my August 5th anniversary of my surgery, 3 years, was just a week ago. And that day I decided that I needed to live. I needed to live again because I felt like I was dying doing what I was doing. You know, I was doing the activism. I saved Tabernacles Town Hall, felt great and everything, but I needed more, and I needed this. So, and I actually put a GoFundMe out last week on Monday on my birthday. I've got like $700 or something in there so far, and thank you very much for doing that, whoever did that. And look, your $700 is actually going to be what pays my first deposit, my security deposit here. So that's funny, right? So, or helps pay it. So, thank you, and look forward to more episodes coming out of the New Jersey or Trenton's Temple of Hemp and Cannabis, better known as Trenton THC. I'm your host, Patrick Duff, with my host and new landlord, Phil Charles. Yeah. And I've had some really bad luck with landlords, so hopefully we don't have bad luck here because, man, some people get crazy.
Landlord's cool. We're like friend lords.
No, yeah, I know. I'm kidding.
Land
anyway.
friends. Land buddies.
We have plenty of material for new shows coming up. I'll just say that. So thank you very much for watching and listening. And like I said, take a look below at the website. And if you want to join, just join, and you'll be invited to the grand opening, which will be in September, probably September 1st through the 5th, sometime then, or maybe even earlier. But it will be soon, and I will look forward to seeing anybody that wants to come down and check out what we're doing here. Thank you very much. Over and out. Peace.
2 hours later.
How many?
No, I was playing. Probably.